My darling, intrepid viewers, ¿qué tal? As you can see from the backdrop, I'm still in Buenos Aires. So I've got 3 more days and then I have to go back to my real life. It's going to be hard, going to be real hard. But tell me something. Is it just me, or has this been the most boring week in politics in living memory? Really, like, what did we have? We had the release of the Durham report. I don't know about you, but I forgot they were even doing it. 300 pages of weasel words, $6.5 million later, 2 failed prosecutions, nothing else to show for it, just gone. And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's always up for the Mega Stupid of the Year award, and her taking on Bud Light in that case and saying, go to Cause. And Cause came forward and said, we've been supporting the LGBTQI community for 20 years. They fund the Pride Parade in somewhere or other and stuff. So she got that really wrong. But more squandering of money, ineptitudes, just hopeless. But just when I was feeling defeated, I found some real juicy gossip that I will share with you. I'll do that later. So, also contenders for the Stupid Award. In 2021, a financial investigative committee at a federal level was formed to look into ownership of companies, how to find out who really owns what companies, right? Now, they got to spend millions of dollars to produce a form, and the question that says, who owns this company, has a box and an opt-out clause. You don't have to answer it. You know, this information in the UK and Australia and other places is in the public domain anyway. It shouldn't be secret and hard to get. I'm just really cranky. She's this waste of money because the argument is always, oh, there's not enough money for children's nutrition programs, but they can throw away millions in this crap, you know. So over it. Okay, so where are we? A couple of things I want to cover. The Centre Dems, whoever they are, I guess it's those fairly mainstream, middle-of-the-road Dems, have been talking to McCarthy. And so if his rogue cast tries to block the debt ceiling, and they're saying to him, if he can hold out and defy them, these centrist Dems, will help vote to keep him in as Speaker. Why would you bother? But anyway, it might be hugely important. So just because I'm in a grumpy mood doesn't mean it shouldn't be looked at. So the question is, will the Centre Dems get any traction with McCarthy? This hasn't happened apparently since 2013. And then the Speaker was John Bonar, and he resigned rather than accept help from the enemy. You know, so let's see, McCarthy and the Centre Dems, what's happening? Sorry, I've got a very confined space here, so bear with me. Okay. Oh, my cards are upside down. Well, it's not exactly falling on deaf ears. He is listening. Oh, he's got issues. Oh, not of cups. Okay. Well, McCarthy's got his hands full, but we don't have to feel sorry for him. He knew what these people were like. He decided to get into the bed with the bed bugs, and now he's getting bitten. So this is a choice that can be made. He has the option here. If he thinks about it, it's not the worst option. But he's under all this pressure, Eight of Wands, it's coming constantly. It's an incoming bombardment of things. And I don't know why he wanted this gig. I don't know why anyone wanted the gig, but Pelosi was spectacularly good at it, and he's equally bad at it. He's struggling. He's really struggling here with this Eight of Wands. He's so used to just being able to, blow smoke. I'll be kind here. That he's forgotten how to actually think. Swords are about the intellect too. And he's just running on emotion, and the people he's dealing with are running on emotion. So, nothing's actually being decided. The magician has turned up. So the magician could mean some sort of salvation, that McCarthy could pull this out in some way. Although, what does a victory mean? Does a victory mean the country not shutting down completely or something? Is that a victory in the modern world? But he does have the power, if you like, of the gavel. He's got all the tools, but can he use them? He really doesn't know. No one knows. They're all howling at the moon. This is the rogue Congress people howling at the moon. They're going to hold out. I don't know about McCarthy, but they're going to hold out to hold the country to ransom. Now, if that happens and Biden has to implement, is it the 14th, Article 14 or something, where he can unilaterally do something, it goes to the Supreme Court. And where that used to mean, oh, well, it'll be fully discussed and considered, that now has to fill us all with dread, anything going to the Supreme Court. But they are pro-business, and I don't think this Supreme Court will be that keen. They won't want to be roped into it, I think. But let's have a look. Article 14 in the Supreme Court. Anything happening here? Anything happening here with this? Because publicly, Biden has said continually, of course, oh, well, that option's down the road if we need it, but they must be talking about it. And the Supreme Court must be talking about it. So will the Supreme Court take this up? Will it get to that? Let's have a look. Well, oh, too much. This started off really well. We'll go to the good bit first. So here's an agreement being reached with the Lovers card in the best interests of America, the country, the star. I thought, oh, goody, two shoes. Then it gets gnarly. The High Priestess, so I don't think they're being forthcoming. The members of the Supreme Court are being forthcoming even with each other, because they're in this schism now because of all this bad behavior and blatant corruption. So this is a problem for them. And then they have these cups. Here we have the false knight again, followed by the Queen of Cups. So the emotions ruling the head again. So with the Supreme Court, I think individuals on the Supreme Court, instead of being able to act in the best interest of the country, which is their core business, their only business is what they should be doing, they're torn between wanting to support the hideous GOP in this and doing the right thing. But the Queen of Cups, this could be a woman on the Supreme Court, and I don't think it's Amy Coney Barrett or anyone. I think it might be one of the old guard, who was saying, we do not want to go down in history as the Supreme Court that derailed the global economy. So maybe you lawmakers need to have more conversations, pet. So I think this is the grown-up. I think this is the Clarence Thomases and the Kavanaghs and the what's it. And I think there's going to be a woman who's instrumental in pushing it back, but it's behind the scenes. Remember, we had the high priestess. We might not see this on nighttime news, but I think this is what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, now, in other news, before I get to the juicy bits, white supremacists in DC or somewhere, they're called the Patriot Front. God, I don't know how many organizations called the Patriot Front I've seen in my time. I don't know about you. It's one of those names. And they were gathered, to spread their venom and their bile. And some lone guy on a bicycle rode beside them. And as the Patriotic Front guy was reading his speech, the guy on the bike was harassing him by saying, "Hi, fascist, everyone hates you. Your mum hates you. You were a loser in high school. You even look like General Custer's illegitimate son." And it was the last comment that sort of penetrated. But miraculously, he got away with it. But he really threw them. So it was a courageous, if risky, act. So we know that. Oh, now, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is going to be subpoenaed. There's a case in the US Virgin Islands, yet another colonial experiment. The US has been one of the great empirical powers, and I don't mean great in a good way. They have been everywhere. Okay, so US Virgin Islands is looking at the financial dealings of Epstein and sex trafficking. So they haven't let that go, even though the man himself has toddled off the mortal plane. And they've already called for JP Morgan Chase about money that Epstein channeled, allegedly, well, not allegedly, I think we could safely say for sex trafficking acts. And the question they're asking was, did Epstein suggest Musk as a client to JP Morgan Chase? So suddenly these big boys who thought all this had gone away are being held to account in the US Virgin Islands. Bless the virgins. So let's have a look. Will anything come of this? Will anything come of this? Okay. Oh, I got a reversal. They're very rare, as you know, for me. I'll get to that. Okay. Now it starts with the emperor. Is the emperor Elon Musk, or is the emperor Epstein, or is the emperor the government of the US Virgin Islands? So I'm leaning more towards it being Musk in this context. So he is being asked to explain what this financial juggling, Two of Pentacles, was about. Who did he pay money to? Who did he get it from? And who brokered the deal? This is a card of financial manipulation and rocky waters. Isn't it funny how you're looking at one thing and then something else completely different comes into the picture? This is messages about money that are being discussed. The Justice card, modeled on Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she was younger, was reversed. So I have to say that these other cards about money and the emperor might mean that justice doesn't get carried out in this case. However, it's not as cut and dried as a single reverse card, because the last card is the King of Swords. So it might be, this could be Elon Musk refusing to attend, or JP Morgan Chase's representatives not complying, something to defy justice. But then along comes the King of Swords. So I'm saying from this, they'll resist, and that could go 6 months or a year or God knows what. And then they will have to actually come up with the goods, that information. Well, the E. Jean Carroll case still has legs. As you were all commenting, of course, she has the right to sue the Yeti for flagrantly disregarding the defamation laws of the United States of America. Clear-cut case, she could win it. I'm not sure she wants to go there. But I didn't know that she also still has another case backed up from 2019. When the Yeti was president, he defamed her in a very specific time frame, and she lost her job at Elle magazine. I'd forgotten all this. I don't know about you guys. And that case is still coming down the pike. So it should do all right, given the result from the other case. So she's already got another court case in the works. Okay, so let's see here. Let me just jump into this, I think. Oh, there was one more thing. Oh, I have to have a moan about this before I go on to the juice and the fleas. The Biden government's about to release $12 billion. It's a hunk of money to attract carbon capture technologies. Okay, it's the holy grail of a lot of eco-science and stuff. The problem is no one's got it quite right yet. There are all these theories, scientific theories of how to do it. But they always come back to trying to bury it a mile deep somewhere. We have the same, we have the same conversations in Australia, and huge amounts of money get spent and then it doesn't happen again. We have an acronym in Australia, NIMBY. NIMBY means not in my backyard. So that's nuclear waste, carbon capture, all this stuff. Everyone wants it, but not in my backyard. So I think this is going to be a NIMBY issue, because Louisiana has supposedly been chosen. They want to put it under a lake, a mile deep under a lake. I'm sorry, I only did high school science, but I could have saved the country $11,999,000 by saying not a good idea. You know, and apparently it's also a tidal estuary, moving water. Things go wrong, it goes out into the ocean, and it's colorless, it's odorless. Big companies are going to get huge amounts of this money to do some bodgy deal. What is it with these guys? You know, the shortest line between 2 points, we've got a problem, let's bury it in the ground. Like the ground's not a living thing. Like people don't live over the ground. Like, it's the same in Australia. It's the same everywhere. Stupid ideas. Okay, let's get on to the juice. A woman who was Giuliani's principal aide for some time is suing the man for sexual harassment. It's at least harassment, maybe sexual assault. Lena, you should have done more research. But she's taking on Giuliani. Okay. Now, what has accidentally emerged from this story is She overheard conversations between the Yeti and Giuliani about selling presidential pardons for $2 million. It actually had a set price tag. You want to get out of jail, $2 million. Right? Now, how come she was privy to this information? Well, part of her court case is testifying, so I guess I can say it on YouTube because it's part of her public disclosure statement. She was coerced into doing a sexual act for Giuliani while he was on the phone to the Yeti. The mind boggles. Sorry about the visual. So this is my new case du jour. So what will happen in this case of Giuliani and the sexual assault case with his aide? Sexually inappropriate doesn't cut it, really, does it? Okay. Now, it will be exposed. Oh my God. Oh, well, go girl. That's all I can say about this one. This is quite straightforward. I'm loving this. Yes, these things will come to light. Oh my God, it's going to be interesting how mainstream media, cover this case. It's going to be gold. Giuliani, not good. I mean, the man is on his last legs anyway for 100 reasons, but I think this could be the final nail in the coffin type scenario. He's not going to get any dinner invitations ever again, not just because of this. It's an accumulated thing, and he is fond of a drink, as we all know. So he's already out in the cold. This case is just regurgitating his bad behaviors and slamming him. She will get a payout of some sort with this Page of Pentacles, but I think it's in the middle of the reading here. So it's talking about the money, the message about money, which was, give me 2 million, I'll give you a pardon, just give me my pen. This is coming up again too. Options and choices. I'm thinking one of his options or choices may be to just plead guilty, to try and head it off at the pass, because he'd make the argument he's too old, he's too sick and too crazy to go to jail, so you may as well be hung for a sheep as a lamb, and he might just admit it, rather than have this other stuff, which is much more serious, at least in legal terms. It's not treason. What is it? Selling presidential favors, it's something. Is much more serious than misbehavior in the office. And yet it is these women who've put up with this crap, as we all did for decades and centuries. They go, oh, no, they're calling them out now. I love it. And celebration. So I'm loving this case. Keep your eyes peeled. Keep those comments rolling in. Now, the other thing I wanted to say was, I will be opening the books for readings, personal readings, not just yet. I'll let you know, because I miss them. I really miss doing them. I love doing readings. So I'll be getting back to you on that. All right. So my next video may be here or maybe in Australia. So I'm the queen of your frequent flyer points. I managed to get all these trips, on a shoestring, and thanks to the largesse of certain people who have helped my traveling case. Blessings. You know who you are. And I do feel very blessed for that. But I just love to travel, and it's so good bringing you on these trips. So I hope you're having a good time in Buenos Aires. So for now, that's it from me. Hasta luego. Ciao, ciao.